Welcome to Caregiver Relief, the podcast dedicated to easing the challenges of caregiving and helping our loved ones live with more dignity and freedom. I'm your host, Diane Carbo, RN. I have lots of experience supporting families through tough caregiving issues. And today we're diving into a truly transformative innovation. My guest is Aleksandr Malashchenko, known as Aleks. They call him Aleks. He's a PhD in mechanical engineering. He's a former aerospace R&D leader and a passionate founder of ReviMo. After witnessing the exhaustion and embarrassment his grandfather faced after a stroke, Aleks created Niko, a smart robotic mobility device that lets people transfer themselves safely. No waiting for help, no heavy lifting, no loss of privacy. In this episode, we'll explore how Niko restores independence, supports safe toileting with dignity, reduces caregiver strain, and opens up new possibilities for rehabilitation in daily life. So if you're a caregiver feeling overwhelmed, or a senior just wanting your independence and autonomy, this conversation could change everything. This episode is sponsored by myvitalvault.net, your all-in-one life organizer for aging adults and caregivers. It's designed to help you securely store your essential legal, medical, and emergency information in one easy-to-access place. Because when a crisis hits, being prepared can make all the difference. Join our Caregiver Relief community, a warm, welcoming space where you can connect with other caregivers, ask questions, share stories, and find support from people who truly understand. Visit community.caregiverrelief.com to join now, because caregiving is one of the hardest and most meaningful things you'll ever do, and no one should have to do it alone. And if this episode speaks to you, please take a moment to like, share, or comment. Every click helps us reach more caregivers who need encouragement, resources, and hope. Let's get started. Aleks, thank you. As I've told you before, I'm really excited about your Niko, because people are always asking me, is there anything out there that I can use to transfer myself out of bed, take me to the bathroom, and do other activities without having a person around? Because seriously, we have a shortage of caregivers, professional and family caregivers are way overworked. So thank you so much for sharing this information with us today.
Yep. Thank you for having me, Diane. It's a great pleasure meeting with you and telling about our story. Yeah, thank you for highlighting my personal experience with the problem. I was a caregiver for my grandfather who was paralyzed after a stroke. And it was always embarrassing for him to ask for help every time he needed to get out of bed and go to the bathroom. And he always wanted to get back his dignity, but there was no solution for that, basically. And I was his caregiver. I helped him with transferring, toileting, showering, did everything manually. So felt this pain in my back. So yeah, it can definitely relate to the problem that many people are experiencing right now. So, yeah.
Well, you know, Aleks, what I love about my podcast is I am interviewing people that were caregivers that saw a problem or an obstacle, and they provided a solution to overcome it. So I really appreciate that you took the innovation and really cared enough about your grandfather to create this. Now, what is Niko exactly, and how does its scooping seat and remote control work to enable self-transfers from bed, wheelchair, recliner, or even to the toilet?
Yep. So Niko is the new class of technology. I bet many people haven't seen anything like that before. So it can slightly remind you a wheelchair, but it's not a wheelchair. It is something that has a wireless remote control. So a person who cannot get out of bed can easily retrieve Niko from a distance. And then Niko has a special scooping fitting system that can easily slide underneath and scoop a person up from a bed or a chair without any belts or slings. It's very easy. It can be done just by pressing a couple of buttons with minimal physical effort. And then Niko can lift a person up from a bed or a chair, and they can use it as a powered wheelchair primarily. So they use a joystick to move around, and they can transfer to the bathroom or kitchen or living room. So Niko has like the free space under the seat. So a person can easily put themselves on the toilet or transfer to a recliner chair, a wheelchair. So it's compatible with almost any seated to seated transfers.
I just want my listeners to know that we will put videos on this page. We create a permanent page at the end with every podcast that will have the videos of this because I am loving Niko. I really am. Many seniors and caregivers, everybody dreads the loss of privacy, and toileting is a big issue. And how does Niko make independent, dignified toileting possible and safe? I thought that was the number one reason why people would want it.
So yeah, this is definitely the most critical part when people lose a lot of dignity or when they need to ask for assistance every time that they want to go to the bathroom, do their toileting routine. And here, so we have done a lot of work to simplify this process. First, we made the transfer possible without any belts or slings, which are hard to operate by people with limited mobility, people who have muscular weakness or low hand dexterity. So we don't have anything like that in our device. We have our scooping mechanism that can lift a person just by pressing a button. And then we have a special toileting mode. So when a person has been transferred to a toilet, they can press the button and the seat of the device can partially open, creating the gap in between, providing access to the toilet, basically. And it's quite easy to take off pants with Niko. There are multiple ways of doing that. Some people can do it from a seated position. Some people can use our extendable handlebar to pull themselves up and take off the pants. Or some people will even use the device already without pants. So if it's comfortable for them to do, yeah.
I have a question about advanced safety features like the rear view camera, sensors, and alarm button. I think this can give users and families confidence to try self-transfer. Can you talk about those features?
Yeah, sure. We worked a lot to ensure safety of the device users. We added multiple sensors that prevent the device from hitting a user by accident if they use it in their own way. So we also added the backup camera so a person can see what's behind to easily transfer to the toilet or some chairs. And it's very convenient. People who used it really appreciate the camera. And we also added an emergency button, basically, which is autonomous. It has a separate battery source. And by pressing this button, a device user can notify a caregiver. So it will call a caregiver or send the text message. And if a caregiver is not responding, it will call 911. So just if things go wrong, so a person can be confident that they will receive support if necessary. Yeah.
I actually have a client who has MS that is absolutely excited about Niko. I want to ask you, how portable is Niko?
So yeah, Niko is quite portable. I travel a lot with it. I take it on a plane, so transport it in a car. So the total weight of the device is approximately like 140 pounds or so, and it can be partially disassembled. There are some quick release parts that can be taken off, and then the device can be transported in 2 cases on a plane. So I generally transported in 2 cases, or it can be transported in just a regular car. There are also some like compact retractable ramps that can be used to just drive Niko into the car trunk, which is also quite a convenient option to travel with it. And there are separate like lifting platform similar to those that are used for scooters and wheelchairs. So you can just drive Niko onto this platform, lift it above the road, drive and then just put it back and use it as a transfer device. So multiple ways to improve the travelability with Niko. But yeah, overall, I think this is one of the benefits that Niko is a fully portable solution and can be taken anywhere where you go. So yeah.
That's amazing. Now, Niko elevates users to a standing level, and I found that really important. Can you explain the benefits this offers for rehabilitation, being able to reach high shelves, or just feeling more like yourself to be able to do things without asking for help?
Oh yeah, there are so many benefits of the standing mobility. So Niko can do it in two ways. A person can go up to a standing level in a seated position, basically. So it doesn't require the ability to bear weight on the legs. And it gives people an opportunity to talk to other people face to face on the same level, which is mentally important, or reach the objects on the standing level, like higher shelf of the kitchen cabinet or similar applications. And people who still have some ability to stand, they can use the retractable handlebar that Niko has to pull themselves up and fully stand up. Again, to do some activities of daily living or just for rehabilitation, for practice standing. So there are a lot of benefits of standing, improved blood circulation, bone density, and multiple others from the health standpoint.
I love this. One of the biggest things a lot of women miss when they end up in a wheelchair is their ability to cook or bake. Those are things that
Yep.
they do for love, especially the older, like my generation. There were a lot of us that we grew up making homemade everything, and they seem to feel a loss of that. When I saw the video with Niko helping somebody reach something in the cabinet, I thought, oh my gosh, you could still cook and bake if you wanted, and it would be so much easier, and you'd be able to rest in between if you needed to do that. So I
Yep.
really thought that was a real plus. Now, compatibility is huge. Does Niko work seamlessly with wheelchairs, recliners, shower benches, or everyday furniture?
Yeah, we have done a lot of work to make it compatible with most of the wheelchairs and recliners. So we went through 4 generations of working prototypes of Niko early on. So we built our first prototype at Cornell University. I completed an accelerator program there. We tested it, understood overall the core idea with this scooping sitting system can work, but it was very far from what we have now. Then we built the second version, tested it again, improved it, then the third one, the fourth one, until we got to our current pre-production version. And one of the feedback portions we received from our test users was, we don't want to only transfer from bed to bathroom. We also want to transfer to wheelchairs, recliners, transfer to vehicles. So we want to do like a lot of things with Niko. And we put a lot of thinking to make it compatible with multiple wheelchairs. There are so many different types of wheelchairs.
Yeah.
All of them have different geometry, different sizes. And now I can say that Niko is compatible with 80-90% of wheelchairs and most of the recliners, shower benches, and yeah.
Now, from your engineering background, what makes Niko different from traditional lifts like Hoyer or ceiling systems in terms of ease, effort, and user control?
So yeah, with the Hoyer lift, the main issue with that, in my opinion, that you need to use all these belts and slings to lift a person. It requires physical effort from a caregiver to move the person back and forth to set up all these belts and slings. Then you need to lift them. To safely operate the Hoyer lift, you need 2 people. So overall, the process takes a lot of time and physical effort. With Niko, our first goal is to make it possible for a person to transfer fully independently, and that's why moving forward with belts or slings was not an option, because no way a person with limited mobility can do that. So we designed this scoop and fit in system and added the wireless remote control, which made it possible for people to transfer basically independently. And for caregivers, basically, we also see a good application for Niko to be used by caregivers for people who have like mental issues or like vision impairments or some other health conditions that can prevent them from using Niko independently. In this case, it can be operated by a caregiver, and it's a much lower physical effort and time spending for a caregiver transferring with Niko compared to the Hoyer lift. A caregiver can do it just by pressing several buttons. So yeah.
I've used Hoyer lifts for decades. I worked with quadriplegics, paras, stroke victims, and I can tell you that the Hoyer lift, in fact, it's very challenging to use. It was the only solution we had, and it takes staff, but it also takes up a lot of space. You have to make sure that the legs are a certain space apart and then put and fit into the bed, and it's very challenging. And a lot of patients, I can tell you honestly, are afraid because they're afraid that it's gonna break or they're gonna drop. And it's an issue for many refuse the Hoyer because they don't want that feeling of hanging there and not knowing if it's gonna drop or not. So, I really appreciate your thoughtfulness when you're putting this product together. How has feedback from early users or beta testers surprised you? Any stories of regained independence?
Oh yeah, so we have multiple great stories. Some people were crying because they were able to get out of bed independently for the first time in their life, or just for the first time in a very long time. And it was like very exciting to see that we really made something that can help people, can really change the lives, of some people. Yeah, we received a ton of feedback on our first iterations. People were telling us how we should choose the ergonomics, the user interface, so the maneuverability, the size, and so many contradicting requirements that we faced. However, I believe that we were able to find the pretty good combination of features. So I think we can meet like 95% of requirements that our first test users asked us to implement.
I'm just amazed by Niko, and I know that so many of my listeners are seniors that are fiercely independent, and it's hard. I know because I'm one of them. It's hard for us to ask for help for anything. I've been that way my whole life. If I can do it myself, I wanna do it. And this takes away so much power over how do I wanna put this? It's hard to ask for help, and it gives us an extra challenge in overcoming an obstacle. Asking for help is personal growth. It is. We all have to need help at some time in our life, but you can delay it for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I like that, and be independent. I really like that. Now, what conditions or situations is Niko best suited for?
Yeah, so we have so many. We have users starting at 12 years old to over 75, 80 years old.
Wow.
So it's not only for senior adults. We have people with stroke, muscular dystrophy, MS, ALS, cerebral palsy, spinal cord injuries. I would say probably over 20 different medical conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, the common thing is people, so for people who use it independently, they still have some ability to maintain a seated position on their own, and they have like mental capabilities to use the device and some minimal hand dexterity to operate a joystick. For assisted use, the requirements are even lower. So yeah.
Mhm. Now, caregivers often worry about injury from repeated transfers. I know as a nurse, my body is ruined because we used to do fireman lifts and transfer people physically. And my whole spine is broken. And I always worry about the caregivers because they don't realize that how much of a toll it takes. The pushing and pulling on their neck and their lower back can cause them severe pain over time with repeated transfers. What impact could Niko have on reducing physical and emotional burnout?
Oh, I think it should be pretty significant. Whereas with Niko, a caregiver basically doesn't need to do like anything physical. The only things that they have to do is just pressing several buttons and operating the joystick to transfer an individual. So there is one part when the person needs to be brought from a lying down to a seated position. However, there are already existing beds that can bring a person to a seated position and turn them 90 degrees, basically creating a chair from a bed. And I personally tested Niko with this bed, and it works perfectly. So basically, the combination of this bed and Niko basically eliminates the physical effort for a caregiver, even for quite frail individuals who don't have the capability to sit up independently.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what's next for ReviMo and Niko?
Yeah, we are very actively working on the launch of the serial the production of Niko and the completion of the FDA clearance. So these are major milestones for us that we need to accomplish before we can deliver Niko to our waiting customers. So we already have hundreds of people on our wait list who are waiting. And every day, basically, I receive messages and emails from people. So how can I get it right now? So I really need it. So I don't have a caregiver. I'm tired of sitting in wet pants like for multiple hours during the day. So people tell us very personal stories, and yeah, and that it really motivates us to keep moving as fast as we can, just to bring it to people as fast as possible.
It's truly more cost effective too than the ceiling ones, because I have had several clients ask about those. And when you look at the cost and the what it does to the property, your home, it's not cost effective to make that change. Whereas Niko seems to be just the right solution at the right time for this silver tsunami that's coming way. Alex.
Yeah.
Alex, how do people find you and how do they find Niko?
I think the best ways are visiting our website, www.revimo.care. It's ReviMo.care. Or visiting our social media. We have our Instagram page, revimo.mobility, and our Facebook page, revimo.niko.
For my listeners out there, I will have all this on the page so that you'll be able to find Niko and Aleks ReviMo wherever you are. To my family caregivers out there, you are the most important part of the caregiving equation. Without you, it all falls apart. So please learn to be gentle with yourself. Practice self-care every day. And that may mean getting a Niko for your loved one because you are worth it.